Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order the December 11th, 2025 Old Bridge Township Planning Board meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have Maureen Porcelli in for Daniel Holohan. Could we have a roll call, please?
Certainly. Mr. De Palma?
Here.
Mr. Lenning?
Here.
Mr. Hagopian? No? Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renna?
Here.
Mr. Petty? Here. Ms. Masella? Here. Mr. McIsaac?
Here.
Mr. Brennan? Absent. Mr. Ferrara? Absent. Chairman Lauer?
Here.
Mr. Sardillo?
Here.
Ms. Sawant?
Okay, we going to have the swearing of the professionals?
Mr. Chairman, we don't have an application on for this evening, so I will swear in our planner when she makes her official public, or official presentation on the Raceway Park Area Investigation Study. So for record-keeping purposes, I'll swear her in at that time.
Okay, thank you. Next, well, we're going to step out of line here. The application HB Warehouse, for anybody that's here for that, that will be continued. It's going to be adjourned tonight and continued to, do we have a date for that?
No, we don't, because the hearing for that depends on when we conclude with the, when they conclude in front of the zoning board. So for now, it is tentative, it is scheduled. We have given them a February date for now as a placeholder, but that might change.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is being adjourned based upon the legal jurisdiction of the planning board. Anyone here is out here because of the fact that the zoning board hadn't completed its decision on the application pending before it, and that is determining the zoning permitted for the site. Until that's determined, the planning board doesn't have jurisdiction to hear the site plan application portion of it. So that is why it's being adjourned at this time. And as Ms. Sawant had just stated, it will require new notice to be provided because we don't have a date certain. We have a placeholder for them in February, but it can't go forward until the zoning board hearing has completed and they get an approval from the zoning board. Because if they get a denial, then they can't come before us at that time either.
And when they get a date, it'll be re-notified, right?
Yes, they'll provide all new renotice for everything.
Okay. Next, we're going to executive session now. I'm looking for a motion to go to executive session.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renna?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Chairman Lauer?
Yes.
So members of the public, we're going to have to ask you to leave the room.
These 29 parcels together comprise of roughly 534 acres of land, of which the Raceway Park property itself, where you have the racing and the airport, as well as AIIA storage facility, it comprises of 280 acres of land. Majority of this area is zoned, basically the Raceway Park property is zoned for ST5, and there are a few properties that are zoned as R120 residential, and then the properties that are along English Town Road are zoned for EDO1. The entire study area lies within the planning area 2, which encourages infill development. It allows for redevelopment, so it is within the state's planning area 2. I believe everyone has seen the study that was presented, so that I can skip some of the details. But has the board seen the study? It was circulated by the planning board secretary, as well as it was posted on the township's website. I talked about the zoning. I talked about. So now, basically, for any study, what I do is I reach out to our engineering office, I reach out to the tax department, I reach out to the building department, the fire code, and the police to see if there are any incidents that are worth noting. And those incidents primarily really are indications of either, underutilization, or if these properties are not well maintained, or if that area is to some extent that area encourages nefarious activities. So especially when there is a lot of vacant land or underutilized parcels, there is always a case. Plus, with the police, it's easy to get any accident report, especially if the streets are not designed the way they should be, or your Pension Road, English Town Road is notorious for accidents, and there have always been traffic issues there. So I reached out to all the departments. Engineering department has done a thorough analysis of the roadway, and you see that in the report. There is details about the upcoming Woodhaven Boulevard, which is under construction and is being reviewed by the engineering office. Pension Road was recently paved, so it is in a fairly good condition. However, the issue there is with traffic and Pension Road not being able to accommodate the truck traffic because of the way it is aligned. So I have all the details from the engineering office there. Building department has their data in there. There are some commercial uses that that have had non-conformities or have open building violations. So moving on to the police data, there have been a number of accidents, and you can see that on page 12 of the report. There were roughly 1,184 incidents in 2021. The incidents have gone down. However, there are at least, on an average, 400 cases reported in the police department. There have been fire incidents, and especially the fire incidents have mainly been at the long-term auto storage space on the Raceway Park property. I was talking to the fire chief, and what has happened is, with the concept plans that were approved by the planning board, there was a large number of stacking or tandem parking that was allowed for these vehicles. And some of them, there's oil leak, there has been fire incident. It becomes very difficult for the fire chief to, extinguish fires, especially when there are 6 cars. We're trying to eliminate that in future. With OBMUA, there are maps attached that shows that there is water and sewer within the area. Right now, it comes from Monmouth County's water utility. However, OBMUA has a deal with that area that if there is future development, the water would be supplied by OBMUA and they would discontinue it from the Monmouth County Utility Authority. And then going on to the property evaluations, which come from the taxes and the improvement value. There's a table on page 15 that shows many of the properties, you'll see there is a zero value, which means that they are vacant. And there are a significant number of those properties that are vacant. I talked about the planning area. Now, based on the local redevelopment housing law, there are statutory criterias, and every parcel has to meet at least one criteria so that I can make a recommendation, or the planning board can make a recommendation for the council to designate this area as in need of redevelopment. And there are 9 criterias. First, A through H. Each one of them has its own significance. So if the buildings are substandard, it would meet criteria A. If there is discontinuance of a building that was previously commercial or retail, then it's criteria B. Criteria C is if it is a municipal or a private or county-owned land that has been vacant for more than 10 years. Criteria D is more liberal in terms of if there is obsolete layout, if there is deleterious land use, if the site circulation is in question, if the parking lot is in poor condition, if there is no screening, then you could apply criteria D. Criteria E relates to the utilization, the lack of proper utilization of the areas, and which means if there is diverse ownership or issues with the title. Criteria F, we don't have any properties that meet that criteria because it is an contiguous area that is in excess of five acres that has been destroyed or consumed by fire, demolished, or any form of natural disaster, storm, fire, cyclone, tornado. Criteria G is when you are in an urban enterprise zone. We don't have any properties in that. Criteria H is when the delineated area meets the smart growth planning principle. All of the 29 parcels meet the smart growth criteria. And then lastly, the 9th criteria is section 3, which means if there are 2 parcels that meet one of the criteria, one of the 8 criterias, and this property is sandwiched in between, and you need to include this property just for the sake of sound planning, then you could apply section 3. So from page 22 of the report, for each site, there's a photo survey with the details. Majority of these parcels, like I think there is a summary on page 52 where there are 8 parcels that meet criteria C, which means they are vacant. There are 5 parcels that meet criteria D, which have either obsolete layout, the site circulation is an issue, the properties are not well maintained, or the parking lots are in poor condition. And then there are all 29 properties that meet criteria H. There are, again, 29 parcels that meet section 3 because most of them are interrelated. They're under common ownership. They are vacant. So there is a summary chart on the last page. But I will take any questions specific to the properties. I do want to emphasize that this is a non-condemnation study, which means that the township will not condemn any properties. I know some of the residents had stopped by in the planning office with questions or concerns regarding, is the township taking away my property? Or if I have a use on the property, can I still continue? Or will I be, will there be a stop work order for a non-residential use? And that's not what's happening here. We are just looking at the area to see if it meets the statutory criteria so that the area can be designated as an area in need of redevelopment. It is up to the homeowners to continue what they're using. If you want to take advantage of the redevelopment designation and want to redevelop your site, it's up to you. But the township is not going to force you out. I know there are some single-family homeowners, and they have expressed their desire to continue living there. They can do so. Nobody's going to push them out unless they want to redevelop their site or unless they want to be a part of the redevelopment process. So I know once I answered the planning board's questions, I'll take any questions you may have, but I'll go to the board if they have any questions about a specific site. You have the entire report that you have reviewed.
Okay, does anybody on my left have questions for Vina?
So, Dina, just want to make it clear. So this wasn't at the behest of the township. It was at the behest of the property owner for Raceway Park, who wants to redevelop his property.
That is correct.
They're ceasing operations or have ceased operations of the racing component of Raceway Park. There are other uses that they do now with the car insurance thing and all of that, and the airport, but this is not something that we went to them. They came to us wanting
That is correct.
wanting to develop something different, but this is kind of an agreement that is a better use than what they initially wanted.
That is correct. And the reason we go the redevelopment route is when any larger area or tract of land is coming up in front of the board for any sort of development, it is better to go the redevelopment route, because then you can have the developer, whoever that be, then work towards the off-site improvements, because the roadways in that area, like I said, Pension Road, it meets at a very weird angle with English Town Road. And in the past, we have had meetings with the county where there is a desire to align it and make it safer. Or even, I know that the county's vision there is to add a center lane so that vehicles can safely make a left turn onto Pension Road. So unless we go the redevelopment route and we have a redevelopers agreement in place, the planning board in itself cannot ask for off-site improvements. However, if there is a redevelopment plan, part of the plan can be the off-site improvements, and we can have whoever comes in for development to add on or to improve those roadways.
Okay, Vina, I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
You cited a couple of properties you said underutilized. If somebody has a vacant piece of land and no buildings on it, and they just want to sit in the woods and watch the trees grow, does that consider it underutilized?
So the underutilization is mostly for larger tracts of land where you see that it has a potential to be developed and it hasn't been developed based on the allowable building coverage or the impervious coverage. But that it doesn't, the designation is not going to take away that right. So if you want to maintain your property the way you are maintaining, it is underutilized, but you could maintain it the way it is. I don't know if I answered your question.
And in the beginning of your report, you cite the need for redevelopment. Now, Raceway Park, everybody knows there was races out there, there's other facilities out there. I could say, yeah, that's redevelopment, but how do you label vacant land as redeveloped when it hasn't been developed, is my question. You take a piece
No,
of land.
but with Raceway Park, I'm not saying that the actual racing track, the main 280 acres, is vacant. There is still pockets that can be developed. So it is underutilized in certain sections. Yes, it is developed where there is the storage facility or where the airport is, but there are sections of that lot that can be still developed. The Knapp brothers owns 8 properties. Some of the properties are vacant. There's nothing on those parcels. For example, the property that is closer to the Monroe-Manalapan border, that is vacant, and it has constraints, but it has uplands too, which is developable. So that is vacant.
Actually, if I may jump in, Chairman, I think I understand your question, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the term redevelopment, as you're looking at it, means it was developed and now you're redeveloping it as something else. That's just a term that's used, that's not necessarily what the term redevelopment means in the statute. The statutory term of redevelopment is just a term of art that they use to mean, it can mean that, but it can just mean developing initially as well. It doesn't have to qualify for redevelopment, it doesn't have to have actually been developed at one point, and now we're, under English language, redeveloping it. The law doesn't always follow the English language. The law creates its own languages.
And actually, the law, if you look at criteria C, if you read it through, it specifically talks about vacant parcels that have remained vacant for over 10 years, over a decade. So, or longer. So these parcels where I say they're vacant, they have been vacant for a long time, and they meet the criteria C to qualify for redevelopment.
Okay. Now, currently, is there a developer interested in I'm looking for, developing what you're proposing?
Not that I know of.
There's none that you know of?
Nope.
Okay. That's all I have for you. Thanks. Okay. Seeing no more questions on our side, we're going to open this up to the public. If you'd like to come up and ask a question of the planner, raise your hand, come forward. See no hands, I close the public portion. Okay.
You can change your mind.
Wait, if I may, to come, you have to actually come up, we have to get you on the record, you have to just state your name, you don't have to state your address under the new laws. Just state your name, and then, so that we can have you on the record, and then you can put whatever comment or question you have before the board.
Thank you. My name is Scott Rubin, and I would like a little bit more clarification. I think you mentioned that all 29 parcels meet the criteria under Section H. And it wasn't really clear. I understood most of the other sections, and I'm thinking that, the property that we live on, the parcel that we live on, obviously would fall under the H because you say all 29 parcels. I'd like to have a little clarification on what that's about.
Sure. So the state has a smart growth area map. The state, New Jersey State, has a smart growth area map within its state redevelopment plan. And if you fall within that area, then you qualify for criteria H. But in the hindsight, it's good when you fall in the criteria H, because that allows you to redevelop your site if you would want to, based on smart growth planning principles. So typically, those are areas where the state wants to encourage mixed-use type of developments, or developments that are more pedestrian-friendly and can rely more on public transport. And it is the design of that area is more focused on pedestrian-friendly, creating pedestrian-friendly communities. So it's not necessarily like a flaw or something wrong with that property. It's just that the state has determined that you are within the smart growth planning area.
And when you say more pedestrian-friendly, would that be something like maybe sidewalks might be built
Correct.
in that
Yes.
area?
Yes.
Thank you for that clarification. One other question. You talked about one of the concerns that is driving the need to go into this are the high number of accidents on Pension Road and Englishtown Road where they intersect. Has the township or any governmental body given any consideration into putting any sort of traffic control signals there?
So that was something that was reviewed when there was a potential developer interested in developing Raceway Park. Not anymore. We had some meetings with the county because remember, English Town Road is under the county's jurisdiction. So what happens there is completely under the county's control. But when we were looking at that intersection, yes, there were discussions about having a signalized intersection. However, but to have a signalized intersection there, the county was looking at a T intersection rather than that obtuse type of angle that is created right now. But unless there is a developer or somebody developing that site who's ready to do off-site improvements or infrastructure improvements, it would be an expensive affair. So hopefully, when these sites get redeveloped, the developer who is building will contribute and fix that intersection as well. The county themselves don't have plans as of now, but they are looking into rope in anybody who comes in. So even for that matter, like I know Woodhaven is doing some sort of improvements along their Estate 3, which is on the other side of Raceway Park or this study area. And I know they're doing some improvements on their side. I know there are planned improvements for John Wall Road, which is no longer going to be John Wall Road. It will be called Woodhaven Boulevard. So similarly, you will see improvements. But yes, there was a discussion of signalized intersection at that.
Thank you for the clarification.
Sure.
Okay, any other questions? Step right up, sir. Oh.
Frank Tamburello. I live on John Wall Road, and you're talking about the roads and everything. Has the township done a study on all the traffic that's coming into the area that the roads can't handle? I mean, you're going on traffic now where you're standing online or waiting online to a light for 20 to 30 minutes just to get through. I mean, the roads are very bad now. With all the building going on, are they ever going to think about shutting it down?
I missed that. I'm sorry.
The traffic in the area. I mean, you mentioned John Wall Road, which when the racetrack was going, it was a 2-hour wait to get out of the development, which I was fine with because I knew about it. But now, with all the building going on, you have the same traffic. When are we going to do something to widen the roads or do something?
See, right now, this is, we are not at the planning board level or a site plan application level when we look at the traffic. This is just the first step. This is an area investigation
But don't forget,
study.
you also have the state that forces you to put low-income housing in, and at the same time, the township should be going after the state to give them money to increase the roads to make it better. How come we're not looking at that angle?
Joe, I don't know if I,
Can you repeat the question? Because I was.
The state, you have the low-income housing, they force you to do something.
Yes.
Now, if we're the townships, well, I worked for Manalapan at the time, would they be able to go after the state for money to improve the roads? Because as everything's getting worse, the roads aren't getting bigger.
Right, no, I think I understand what you're saying, and ultimately the answer is no, because affordable housing, like many other things the state puts down, is an unfunded mandate. It says, you have to do it, municipalities, but we're not giving you any money to do it. You just have to do it.
But I mean, we have to do something about the roads. We just can't keep
I don't
going.
disagree with you, I'm just answering that one.
I'm just trying to find out to put it out there so you make everybody aware of it. I mean, you all know when you go in traffic how much longer you're waiting from 10 years ago.
So can I interject? I mean, this is just the first step, right?
I'm not talking about
No,
you,
no,
I'm
no.
talking general of everything.
No, let me explain. So the redevelopment process was created so that we can get those improvements eventually in place. This is just the first step
I'm aware. I'm a building inspector and a retired one from
Right.
Manalapan. I understand
So
what you're saying.
where, tonight, what we are doing is we're just evaluating whether each site meets the criteria, right? If the board thinks that it meets the criteria, it makes a recommendation to the council to designate this area as an area in need of redevelopment. After that, the council actually works on a redevelopment plan, which becomes the ordinance or the zoning. And that's when, once that ordinance is in place, the plan is in place, it will attract developers, or it will enable even property owners to do anything with their property. Without that, nothing happens. But the reason we go the redevelopment route is so that we can have a redevelopers agreement, an agreement with a developer who is then committed to do off-site improvements, including the roadway improvements.
Again,
So-
you're asking the builder to make the road improvements.
Yes, because the state doesn't provide that funding. The township doesn't have that type of money to do those improvements. And plus, not all the roads are ours. So if you notice, Pension Road is the township road. It was paved in 2018, and there was some resurfacing and milling done in 2020 as well. But English Town Road, which is the main bottleneck or where the traffic is, it's a county road. So the improvements have to come from the county. And what, in my experience, what is going to happen is once there is a developer, the township along with the county will work towards making the developer do these off-site
Right,
improvements.
but if the planning board would stop putting the building forward, wouldn't that cause the state to come down and maybe open up something so they could talk about redoing the roads?
I don't believe so.
That's, one hand has to talk to the other
I
sooner or
mean-
later.
So I'll jump in where I can, and Joe, stop me where I kind of go. So as the council person up here, so if we do not zone things the certain ways or do what we have to do, the state will just come in. They will allow builders come in and they do this. It's called a builder's remedy suit. The builder will come in and look at a parcel of land and say, this is where I want to put. You're not meeting the affordable housing need that was put on you, and I believe ours is 671.
73.
673. So they can come in and say, I'll meet your need here, we're going to build it, right? Then we don't have a redevelopers agreement in place, so they'll build and then walk away.
Right.
And they won't do any improvements, and they'll stick it to the rest of the town to make those improvements, because eventually someone's going to have to stop and say, we need to make these improvements through, heck and high water, we need to get it done, and then it becomes a taxpayer-funded thing. In this case, what would happen is, should the rest of the council approve this and we go into a redevelopers agreement with the current owner, let's just say they're the ones who are doing it, we would require them to, one, they always have to do traffic studies when they come up here. And based off of traffic studies that not only the developers would do, but also the township would do, we would then put into their agreements that they have to do X, Y, and Z,
Right, put a
and
bond
improve the
out
road,
for it.
widen road, put traffic signals here, roundabouts there, whatever that might be, whatever, these are above my skis, but that's what would be part of those plans, and they would have to make those improvements as either during or before the development happening. So the roadway would be improved as part of the redevelopment agreement.
Okay. Doesn't help our situations, but that's fine. It basically make it appear to you, so you understand what everybody's going through fighting the traffic around here.
Oh, and we,
I know.
no, I understand that we actually do have a person that sits on this board that lives within walking distance of the site, so we do have intimate knowledge of that. And we do agree that there will need to be significant improvements to the roadway.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else would have a question? Okay, step right up.
Debbie Unglert. I just want to know your development that you talking about with Raceway Park selling their property in the back part of it. I'm very well aware, 45 years, I've lived right there, Pension Road. They are my backyard neighbors, okay? So what I want to know is that all the stuff where they want to sell, okay, the ball field behind me is not being touched, and the circular track, is the circular track being touched? Because I want to know if anybody on this board has ever been down there when they're when it's the dragsters, not the dragsters, the drifting and the cars, when you go down Pension Road, when you can't even see, I want to know how you're going to develop back there. That track is going, there's times you can't even see my house because the white smoke and the rubber burning is so bad and so intense all the way down Englishtown Road. So how is that, how's all this building going to be built there and that's going to stay there like that?
See, tonight we are only talking about the area investigation study or whether the sites meet the criteria or not. We are not discussing the redevelopment plan. The plan is a much later stage when it will be presented to the council. Tonight, the questions should be specific to the study, whether it qualifies, but I hear you. I mean, I have been to that area numerous times while I was working on the study, so I'm fully aware of what goes on.
Okay, because you can't even breathe down there, so I'd just like to know. So let me ask just one more question, if this is part of tonight or not. What about the water and the sewage that you say that comes from Monmouth?
Right.
Which the water down Pension Road is Old Bridge. And the sewer, okay, I know for a fact because I paid well over $45,000 to have 1,350 feet of sewer line from my house to Englishtown Road to connect because my septic was bad. They wanted to put the dwelling for a new septic. Dead center would have been where my living room was, so I had no choice. So the township did work with me, but on my expense. So 1,350 feet down Pension to Englishtown Road is on me. Anything electrical, plumbing, anything breaks, that's on me. So every time anything happens with the roadway and they dig or whatever, do I call the water company? Absolutely, because I'm nervous because that's all on me if something breaks.
So from what I have been told by OBMUA is they have an agreement that when that area gets developed, because I know they worked with Woodhaven, and Woodhaven has, I think they are the ones responsible to put sewer lines in along Pension Road North. But what was told to me is OBMUA has an agreement that when this area gets developed, the water and sewer will come directly from OBMUA and not from Monmouth County. I don't know if that helps, but maybe you should reach out to OBMUA.
All right, no, I mean, I do pay through OBMUA, and I am. And when I did connect the sewer line, I had to sign a contract with the OBMUA that if a year from now, 10 years from now, if they brought sewer down my road, I would have to take my sewer line out and then reconnect and pay again.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else have a question? Okay, I'll close the public session for the second time.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, then at this time, the board needs to decide whether or not it finds that the testimony provided by, and the report provided by Mr. Want is acceptable, that the areas do meet, agreeing that the areas do meet the criteria for, to be designated as areas in need of redevelopment, and to make a recommendation that the township governing body declare and designate those properties as areas in need of redevelopment. So there was a resolution doing that was circulated to the board. So at this time, Mr. Chairman, I would see if you want to call a vote in favor of that or not.
Can we have a question?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
You know, there was a whole big to-do about redevelopment and the payment in lieu of taxes. Is that attached to this? Would that be attached? So anything that comes under redevelopment in this area would not be part of the official tax base?
No, that.
In other words, it would not go to the
Any-
schools, it would just go to,
And our township attorney's here, but, and Mark, you can correct me where I'm wrong. This has nothing to do with any redevelopers agreement, has nothing to do with any pilot that could or could not be part of this. Right now, there has not been any
so
conversations
it's not
about
attached to
any-
any pilot?
No, not,
it's
at
just
this
whether or
point,
not
it's just,
redeveloped.
at this point, and Vina, just correct me if I'm wrong, this is just that should the 18 or 25, what, 20?
29. So
29
tonight
parcels.
is only based on whether these 29 parcels meet at least one of the statutory criterias. That's all we're voting on. There is no discussion of a redevelopers agreement, there is no pilot, nothing. This is purely you're looking at the area and making sure that each property at least meets one criteria, and that's my analysis. And you vote on that.
Okay, can I get a motion?
I'll second Petty.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Chairman Lauer?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I believe the minutes are being carried because they were not completed from the last meeting.
Okay.
So I believe that's all we have on our agenda aside from general public comments.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes of November 13th,
No,
2025.
those are, the minutes
Oh.
are being carried because they
Oh.
weren't yet completed.
I'm sorry. Okay, then we need
I'll move
just
it.
a motion to
I'll move it.
Second.
adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Chairman Lauer?
Yes.